Hello guys, how's it going? So I just now had a really weird, out, a mind-blowing out-of-body experience, but it's confusing to classify. It really felt like an out-of-body experience, but I wasn't observing the real time zone, or the real time zone, or at least the, at least any part of it that I could recognize. So to get into it, I was lying in my bed and I was I was just being relaxed and I was getting random visual imagery in my head. So I was just being fed this visual input, different scenarios, and they were your classical dream input, classical classical dream imagery. Um, so I was in my room and police knocked on my door and I opened the door and I just had the idea that I was in this very authoritarian society where these things were really strict with the law and things like that, and I just got a massive vibration in my teeth somewhere on my left side, and I felt like it was going to hurt more than anything I ever felt if I don't wake up right now. And I mean, I knew I was just in my bed. This was just scenarios that I was getting. It wasn't a dream. It wasn't out of body. It wasn't being awake. It's just getting visual imagery and scenarios um, while knowing that you are in bed. And so I suddenly left that experience. I phased out of it, and I was flying through space, seeing all different stars, and I was just flying around, and from space there were these weird helicopters that came in front of me and passed by me. So after that, I was just flying with stars, or all stars flying around past me, and this the entire space became sort of reddish, orange. It was like it was like looking at an evening sunset, but the sun was bigger than all the planets, and the ground was bigger than space, and the entire space was really tiny with all the planets compared to this sunset and the ground that was below me. And I think this is because I was watching some flat earth debates, so that just came to me, I don't know. So but I was still completely aware that this was just imagery and scenarios that I was getting. So after that I phased into an experience, into a scenario where I was a kid sliding down a giant slide in space on a space station, and it was really weird. And there were these people who were narrating it, and if I did something wrong, they would either punish me by sending me to hell, something that looked like hell, something a giant like room chamber with that was really on fire and really burning and full of lava, and I would have died. Or they would have sent me, thrown me out of the spaceship into the space, and I did something wrong that I don't know what exactly happened, but then I heard them, yeah, we're gonna have to send him to space, and this was really fucked. This was really immoral because in this scenario I was just a little kid, and I got sucked into the space, and I just felt this huge sense of tension and pain and buzzing in my head, and it was just really violent. It just felt like the negative pressure of space was ripping me apart, and I suddenly jolted out in my bed. I opened my eyes in my bed, and I was like, "Oh, thank God that is over." It was really unpleasant, and after that, I faced into a different experience. I don't exactly remember how it started, but I was in this weird town, and I was walking around south, east, north, west, and I was trying to find this building, this school. But I got kind of lost, and I was looking around, and it was nowhere to be found. and I knew, yeah, this is a dream. Whenever I go towards down the street, it's just gonna change. So I go every direction I could go, and yeah, it was just nowhere to be found. The scenario, the surroundings were kind of changing all the time, and then all of a sudden, I was uh, I was in this room, and I was still completely just getting these scenarios in my head. They were really fuzzy, they were really unrealistic. But then I opened the door. Okay, I'm sorry if I'm looking left. I'm checking if the camera is still on. Um, uh, I'm sorry, just landed on my nose. I opened the door and I stepped out, and everything became bright as day, bright as I see it just now. It was full on dream experience, and I was just, yes, finally, I'm in a completely legitimate lucid dream. I just got completely immersed in the scenario, and everything was just. I mean, it kind of sounds similar when I'm describing this to you, but you have to understand that what I was talking about previously was just when you close your eyes and imagine a beach, for example, it's kind of like that. But when I opened the door and stepped through them, it was just complete dream, complete realistic experience that you can immerse in. So I was looking at my surroundings, I was looking at my couch, and I was looking at my room, and I just kind of felt like I was out of body, and I started floating around, and I just felt so light and everything. I felt vibrations, um, and I kept thinking about I have to move with intent, like uh, I was floating in this kind of position. I was like, okay, so how do I rotate? Let's say I wanna rotate, and I just tried to rotate, but it didn't really work. So I was okay. I'm doing something wrong. Let's see what does this do, and then I started rotating. Okay, there we go. And I had this double vision thing going on. One part of my vision was uh, this rotating room, and another part of my vision was like I partly opened the corner of my eye and it was just my room not moving. So I was just kind of, whoa, I don't want to wake up out of this experience. I want to experience it fully. So I focused on the part that is spinning, and my eyes just naturally closed, and I went completely into the experience. So after that, I was floating around the room. It was really weird. I don't think it was my room. I think I was through a few rooms away from my room. I'm in an apartment, and there was a weird sofa, yeah. Um, and then I started sinking towards the floor, and I fell through the floor. I was like, it was really weird. The floor was like going here, and I was like, gee, I wonder how it's gonna feel when it covers my eyes. Am I gonna feel the floor in my eyes? Am I gonna feel it? Is it gonna hurt? Is it gonna what? And I was just passing through the floor, and it was like what? And everything below the floor was completely dark. I wasn't able to make sense of it out of anything. But when I looked up at the ground, the floor was constructed of these rectangular block thingies, which might be a distortion because that's how I made the floor in Minecraft to be like surrounded by glass and made out of rectangular things, but that's not really important. So after that I was falling really fast, I was falling down, I was going just falling through this darkness, and I was kind of concerned that I wasn't going to be able to get back to my physical body. So I was like, okay, this is kind of scary. I don't know where I'm going or how exactly to move yet. I'm not completely familiar with movement, so I'm gonna try to get a sense of my physical body. So I did. I kind of did. I kind of moved around in my bed. It was still pretty early in the dream. It was just a minute or two only passed by through this whole entire thing. So I was still able to go do that. And and I didn't wake up. I didn't wake up. I didn't want to wake up because when I got a sense of my body, I was scared of waking up, and I was like, no, I failed too many times. I don't want to wake up. and that resulted in me going back to a dream, which wasn't even lucid, because after that I was like, I woke up in a scenario where I was sitting in my chair like this, and I thought that I was projecting from this scenario that I was sitting, but that was just another dream. That was just a dream, and then I stood up and. Yeah, and I thought about how I'm gonna vlog and how I'm gonna make this video, in that chair, but I had no idea that I was in a dream. I thought that I woke up for real, and the entire projection happened from a sitting posture, which is kind of weird. I think that's harder to do than laying down, but yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching. The entire bit of the experience includes me dreaming about some trees outside and and just lying in my bed. Well, actually, I do have trees outside, and I was lying in my bed, and the sheets were pretty similar to this bed that I'm lying in. But I still didn't get a chance to think about that. As soon as I wake up for real, I mean, am I awake? Am I awake right now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I am awake. I'm awake right now. It's fine. But as soon as I woke up for real, I just went straight to the camera to film this, so I don't forget any part of it. But yeah, the pretty much the other part is really not important. It's just a dream. It was just a dream. The other, so that was the significant bit of it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like the video, leave a like. If you can relate to anything I'm saying or have an opinion about what this exactly means or what it was, I'd like to hear it. And thank you guys so much for watching. You can subscribe if you want to hear more of these things. I don't have them very often, so when I do, it's kind of special to me. And yeah, bye.